Yo, good morning, beautiful people and kindred spirits of art. It's
Right,
Omar Clifton, aka Tyrant with Black Pope, and this is my homie J. S. Dot.
right, shine, prevail, everybody. I am what they call the guardian of Black Pope.
And
Everything I do is explosive.
yeah, even farts.
Even farts. Stand back.
But well, long story short, we've been trying to figure out what we were going to do as far as a social offering, and we didn't want to do anything, typical. We've been working together for years. We met the very beginning of this century.
Yeah,
So I'd say it's been about 20 years we've been working together. And we kind of wanted to work together online with y'all. So Jay,
yo.
let's start with what is Black Pole? I've been talking a lot. What is Black Pole?
Well, you can ask anyone what Black Pope is. Honestly, I think the question would be, what do you think Black Pope is? And what I believe Black Pope is, honestly, what Black Pope is for me is an opportunity to create communities and eliminate creating competition. I think one of the things that I've learned through my journeys with Omar is the fact that we are two different people, but we all have the same common goals. And putting them together, it's been quite the journey indeed. And I think it was like if we go back, like way back in
Yeah.
AIPH times, Art Institute of Philadelphia, he ain't no
Sam
need
School USA.
He just saw some dude with a giant portfolio and stuff. And he was just like, "Hey, you're going to these dorms? I live here. Let me show you the way." And that was like kind of like the beginning, personally, of us knowing each other. But I think as we started going to these classes and having classes together through AIPH, we actually learned that we are both two talented people. We have like both elements that we admire of each other. And that's what really brought us together in the beginning of AIPH. And through that time with the Art Institute, it was just like, we had our ups and downs. But then we created what was one of the few of our ventures, which really expanded our expanded our need to create. Because back then, my eyes were still, in my eyes, I was still just an artist. But when we go back to when we parted and we had you had Take the Love Media and that was after when we had our joint venture in Evolution Media.
Right. In fact, you mind if I jump in right here real quick? You brought up Evolution Media. Back when I'm gonna say we coined the phrase illustrated entertainment.
Yeah.
Because remember, we was like, yo, comics is more than comics now. It's movies, games, like it's a whole industry of illustrated entertainment.
It's
And
expanded.
right. And I'm just thinking about when we ran down to Otakon, I think it was '04 to meet Madhouse Studios and the people at Gaia Online.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we were pitching COG back then, the old school COG, because we done made some changes and updates that we're going to be talking about on the show later in time. But
Man, I remember that day, especially when I was very struck. What did I
yeah,
say? I wasn't starstruck. I was.
it was a fanboy moment.
Yeah, it was a fanboy moment. I was sitting there stuttering. We spent like months building this giant Bible for Children of Gun. A totally different type. It was a similar story, but totally different vibe, different style the characters were. And I'm just sitting there like, if you go through the stuff, I couldn't talk.
Yo,
Yeah,
what was crazy though was his assistant stepped in and like he was able to break the language barrier, and apparently they loved the art, but yo, I had no idea how to contact somebody in a whole nother country that doesn't speak a language I speak to talk to about something that I'm not really sure if he actually likes or if he was just like, good fan, I'm glad you came to see me.
Yeah, we never had the internet wasn't like that.
Right.
Back then. It was just expanding, but it wasn't how it is today where we can easily just like Skype or Instagram, like send someone a snap or Facebook, so we didn't know what to do from there.
Right. And
But
so I'm sorry, I was like, and think nowadays with the way the internet is working, and I think COVID really showed us like we can come together online. And
Yeah,
we've been kind of doing it for the past 4 years with Black Pulp, but this was a time to really
yeah,
refine and say, let's re-grease the machine.
yeah. And I think when you and Brandon really came to me about Black Pulp was when I was doing graphic design, and I had JS Media, you know, designing visions into reality.
Hmm.
And I was kind of stuck because it wasn't what I wanted to do a lot. Yeah, I wasn't really, I was at this mindset where I wanted to reach out to more people, not even for my own benefit, but, I was doing design work and I wanted to be more than that. I want to be a creator. So
Right.
then you guys came up with Black Pope. And then that gave me the whole insight of bringing people together. There's a whole bunch of independent artists out there. We need to connect with them. We wanted this universe. I wanted this universe. And Black Pope for me is that. Black Pope is that universe that ever expands. And we're the spaceships that go out and on these uncharted lands and find these individuals, different artists, creators, anything, and just
Hmm.
bring them together.
Facts. It's
Create
like,
universes into create almost galaxies within this ever expanding universe.
all right. Well, I just want to take a minute to stretch on that because, when we first started building on the story, we came up with the idea of building the concept of why Black Pulp exists in the story. So it's even more than that. It's
Mhm.
like universe being birthed into a fabric of existence, you know,
Yeah,
because in essence, the artists, they bring their ideas from the void of what's the difference between what's in your mind and what's out there. It's like, this stuff is cool, but let's add this to it to make it better. Yeah, I
right.
mean, and so that's kind of where we're at with it. I guess we would say that's where we came with it, especially if we're looking
Mhm.
back at the Crystal Phoenix days and trying to get other artists to work together on a single story. And it's like everybody
Yeah,
want to tell their own story.
I
So
remember Crystal Phoenix.
let's
Yeah,
not even dive into it. That was a mosh pit of madness after a while.
it had potential,
But we were the only
but
ones producing art.
we're the only ones producing art, and everyone was talking about how good they were.
But that, yeah, and so, but if we work
Innocent,
together, we
not
could
everyone.
solve that problem. If we all just
Yeah,
work together and help everybody, we could solve that problem.
yeah,
Yeah, I
and
mean,
I'm not gonna say that much about it. I'll say this much: we were a whole bunch of talented people. We just didn't have the direction and discipline to work together,
and we were young,
and we
and
were
we were
young.
young. But
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, we take those losses, those L's, and we just fail forward, as they say. Either fail
yeah,
forward or you fall down flat.
exactly.
It is funny. I wanted to mention the fabric of existence because I'm going to be working up a model on that stuff in the future. I'm probably going to throw it into this video. In fact, if this audio isn't there, it's because I did that. And I'll just keep the
It,
part where I say I did that.
yeah, I did that. You can
But
just post in the caption, like right in the video. I did
right.
that.
And so like, because with that, we got the concept of the table of infinite seats, which is the
Right.
idea that all the creatives can sit at the table and add something to this fictional fabric of existence without fighting and wrestling with each other. In fact, we can come
Yeah.
together and help each other stronger.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's where that concept works into. And actually, I don't know if I told you everything I'm working at with changing the site, but I know you know about opening up the marketplace because I'm a, you know, cerebral subversive. I'm calling it
Yeah.
black market, like it's underground.
Black market. Yep.
And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take our shop, cut our products down to like 4, maybe 5, just the Epoch Primordial as a demo.
Yeah.
Probably gonna drop that down to a donation price of like $3,
Right.
just to get people to buy into it because I want to turn the marketplace into something where anybody who puts in the black pulp or does a pinup can go and throw up some merch on our site and have another outlet for sale, just as
Yep.
long as it stays within our, shonen shojo age range of, 13, 15, because
Yeah.
those are the people who actually have time to read comic books and have the ability to have money to get to them.
Yeah. And let me just say something about that. I like the concept, the name black market. I mean, when you think about it, like my whole little gripe about us independent artists and creators, we get this stigma about us like not being either real artists or not really doing anything real work. We're we're shunned as these not serious people. And let me tell you guys something right now. If you're an independent creator of any type, think of it as college football. You know, you're hungry. You want to make it to the big leagues. But then you realize you're so great that the big leagues are coming to you. Like, we're not nothing. And I think the spin of Black Market kind of gives that underground feel, because we are like the underdogs in the underground of art and everything creative. So I like that whole Black Market that gives you that, you know, that need to want to produce this stuff for those who love work that you create. You know, it's
Facts.
not so much us being like little thugs in the underground. It's just we're taking something that is usually something that's put negative as a stigma towards others, and we're making it to a positive thing, because it ain't negative to be an independent artist of anything. You're independent. You're doing it on
Just
your own.
self-determined. I have
So,
decided that I'm going to point myself in this direction. This is the way I'm going.
yep,
Right. And so that's step one. That's
yeah,
step one, but it's probably going to happen last. Step
yeah,
two is I've been actually talking to a couple producers I know, like Kid Vega and a few cats here in Philly, and I'm doing
that's
something called Black Moods. Now, Black Moods is
ooh,
just, sometimes when you're working on something, you want to get into that vibe. Like me, I go to Pinterest, I'm scrolling through like say when I'm designing, I'm like, I want to look at this type of thing, I want to see this, and then you turn on your music and you get
yeah,
in your headspace. So right now I'm collecting beats. I'm looking to start reaching out to some artists who might have some sketches, some quick character designs that they don't mind just donating to inspiring other artists. And of
yeah,
course, link backs, hashtags, everything so that that piece is redirected back to that artist.
yeah.
So that's actually
That's
easier because I don't have to do a whole bunch of like a whole bunch of app purchasing or plugin purchasing because I'm not coding it. That's I can figure it
yeah.
out. I know a little bit, but I'm not signing up for another class on that.
No, I hear you. The Black Moods is a great idea. I know for me, for instance, I need to listen to something. I have several apps and I have a whole bunch of music. And
Right.
I listen to one or the other depending on what I'm creating. And
Hmm.
I think one of the most effective things for me is my relaxed meditation sounds,
Okay.
because I have what they call isochronic or binaural beats. Isochronic means you don't need headphones. It's speaker wise. It's to fill the room.
Hmm.
It's like your Zen area. uh, Binaural beats is something that just gives a certain frequency depending on what you need and what need your brain needs to be stimulated with, that requires your headphones. So
That
I
just
have a
gave
lot
me
of
an
folk.
idea. That just gave me an idea. I would like to see if anybody knows or has a beat that is based on or built around white noise.
Yeah,
Like, because that is, it would give that bass ambiance of that, but then
yep.
building the drums and the kicks and the snares. It's easy for me to get hands on dope hip hop beats. But we need
Yeah.
some rock. We need some rock, and we need like some. Because sometimes you want to turn on a game soundtrack. Like I'm right back into the Final Fantasy VII, John, thanks to the remake.
Oh,
Like
you too?
Harris theme is part of my wake up mix. Yeah, I mean, like I wake
Let
up
me tell
to
you.
that.
Yeah, my favorite, I don't mean to cut you off real quick. My favorite is Underneath the Rotting Pizza. That's my favorite track. Anything, and I don't think anyone really realizes this, but the theme to the Midgar, the
Yeah.
boom, 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 boom. When you're in there in the beginning in the original Final Fantasy, there's this guy that's underneath the rotting pizza that complains about the disc that's overhead of that makes up the entire top structure of Midgar. He calls it the rotting pizza, and but that song, it does it for me because it's laid back, but it gives that nice ambiance, like you said. It's very subtle. That's my
Right.
favorite from Fantasy Seven.
Hmm. And
I
so
want someone to remix that for me.
I'm looking to see if I can find anybody who has some type of those type of vibes to make sure we get a good feel for the type of artists who just, I mean, you want to kick it and chill. They got little web apps for everything. Like I was telling somebody about Sketch Daily. If you want to do a quickie morning sketch, Go to Sketch
Mhm.
Daily, either Google it or put it in your URL bar, and pick your subject, and they'll just give you images of models, nude, clothed, whatever. And I'm gonna take one more minute for this before we move forward. But so, but there's no real app that I find that's comfortable for me to just get into a full art vibe. And one thing I learned back, I'm going all the way back to that old work again when we were really like working hard and
Mhm.
writing all those stories. I actually would put the music on the stereo instead of the computer because I need to save RAM.
Right. Oh,
Like,
I remember.
so it's like I want to make sure that my computer's not doing too many processes while I'm working hard on it for hours on end. So you put it on the
Yeah.
what's the name? But if I could have one spot where I could just sit and have a whole vibe for a minute, and then maybe minimize that, have the sound cut off, and get to work, and be able to
Yeah.
switch up and move because it's easier for me. And I might be able to find somebody I could work with if they're all, self-determined artists on the same kit. I might be able to then
Right.
jump on the IG and hit them up like, yo, I was just peeping this picture you got on so and so. Let's work together. I got an idea.
Yeah.
Or even make actual uh, contract negotiations, but just by sharing that vibe in that space. So you already know what that person is about in their work.
Mm-hmm.
Because
And
I was gonna
yeah,
say real quick,
I'm
that's
sorry.
something that kind of, I don't know if it bugs you when somebody come to you for a piece, but they want you
Yeah,
to do something that looks like somebody else's stuff.
exactly. That's what I was gonna say.
It's like,
Yeah.
if I hear one more time, I see what you can do, but can you do what this guy do? And I just want to go, you can't afford them, can you?
Yeah, yeah,
They gave
yeah.
you a price and you was like, no.
Yep. Uh, I had someone like that. You know, I had plenty of people. I know you definitely have. Working in design. But see, that's why I like the things like the black market and black moods because it's exactly what I like to incorporate. That I've been working to incorporate, creating communities, not competition. And when you get people like that say, "Can you do it like this guy?" Because they want someone because perhaps they want it cheaper, but they want that same quality. Now I'll
And
answer that question with this: I can, but don't you want better? But
or not
it's
even
like
better, but
maybe
don't you
better,
want
but like
what I got? Like you
God,
came to
yeah,
me
exactly,
for his work.
exactly.
You came to me
Now
for
see,
that lady's work.
exactly. So going back to what I just said, you want better. That's like eliminating. You got to eliminate the competition. Maybe that guy is great. That guy is great. Doesn't matter how great or bad that person can do. That person's a creator, but they don't want to mess with them. They want to mess with you, and they want you to do what they do. But what
And
about me?
then
You like my work. You
and
know,
I peep
I
what you're
can.
saying though. Because on the
Yeah,
back end, what that's like is you got to battle that person just to
yeah,
get that same respect of a price.
exactly.
Because y'all might not knowing each other be charging the same rate, but
Exactly.
they don't want to pay their rate, so they come to you.
You.
By their mind, they're lowering you down. Say this guy must charge less,
Yeah.
and then you're like, no, I charge the exact same.
Same.
And then they
Sometimes
look
I
at
charge more.
you, yeah,
You know.
you
And
know,
I feel bad for the other creator because they're doing what they love, and this person just wants they want a shortcut. And not for nothing though. I want to take creators like that and just say I want to be able to go to them and be like, look, this guy said he came to you, and now he wants to mess with me. How about we collab?
yeah.
And give this guy something more than what they thought.
Hmm.
So at least, and then say and show him something and be like, look, you said you came to him, you like what they had, but you didn't like their price. You came to me because you thought I was going to charge less. And I'm good, but you want me to do what this guy does. So we're working together.
Right.
This is what we could do together. Let's work something out for you. You know, instead of cutting that, because I don't want to take. Back in the day, I would love to take that money from that person because then I'm eating. But me and that person's on the same trip. So stuff like this that we're creating with Black Pulp, it works because we're getting artists. We want to get artists together and work together to create this content. You
And
know.
the fact of the matter is, culture kind of influences the times, and the
Mm-hmm.
artist is the one who creates the culture. And so if we got culture gatekeepers, the times will stay the same.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so if everybody gets to tell their story, well then the culture can be influenced by the culture instead of
Mhm.
by the times,
Right.
because there's always a certain group who want to maintain the times because that's where they flourish. I
Yeah.
mean, like, the bus would never want you to buy a car. The moment you get a car, you don't have to ride the bus no more.
Nope. Nope. And just think about it. They done took the train out the market, except for the city,
Mhm.
because everyone's going to the subway. Well, they want a cab or someone with cars. They want to be able to make that money to transport people, no matter how
And
bad or good their transportation reliability is.
that's why Uber was such a disruptive process, because Uber took the public transportation out the hands of the status quo. It was like anybody can take somebody somewhere. And
Yeah.
I'm used to it. I'm from the hood. Like, if I ain't got enough money to get a cab, I just walk outside. Hack man, hack man, hack
Yeah.
man. Yo,
They're
how
like,
far can
where
I
you
go
go?
for $5? Fact, I got
Yeah,
$5. How far can you get me, OG?
I just need to go to South Street real quick, or I need to go to the city, downtown,
Yeah,
go to the mall. Yeah. Can you take me there? Yeah.
yeah.
You
And
know,
it's
and
especially at the train, like you get off on like off the sub, it's a dude right there, especially after the dark. Hack man.
yep, yeah. That's
So
like
it was
our
just taking a
everyday thing.
certain model and organizing it.
Yeah, doing what public transportation hasn't done in decades, or And granted, not taking anything away from public transportation, but I think in this day and age, we take these ideas and then
Mhm.
we put them into effect. Like, I would have never guessed I would be drawing on an iPad. My thing was a Wacom or Wacom Cintiq. That was my dream.
Bro, you know who
Have
came up with that? Star Trek. If you go back and watch old school Star Trek, everything we got now in some shape or form was there.
yeah, yep,
So let's not doubt the power of creative storytelling and how it influences the real world.
exactly. It does. And if it's not influencing the real world, it was influenced by what the ideas of what people would want the real world to have. And I
Exactly.
think, honestly, what we're doing is exactly two things. It's in between. It's an emanation. It's a culmination of what's happened in the past that we want to kind of contribute to make better. And with it, with our mission, is to expand and see that this is possible. We don't have to always be competing. We don't have to be like Macintosh and Apple and PC. We don't have to be Uber or Lyft. We don't have to be DoorDash or Uber Eats. We don't have to be
Oh,
iPad or Microsoft Surface, for instance. We can bring these together because these help the communities. Like Uber helps the communities when the right people do it.
I was
You
just
know,
watching, quick aside before we move forward. Just today,
yeah,
watched a video with Gary V talking to the, I think it's a VP of global marketing at Uber, about
yeah,
how part of his job during this new season was he had to be responsible with the way they handle things, and
yeah,
was looking at it, made sense, but it was anti their pocket. Yo, you might not want to take a Uber. Like, Uber telling you, you might not want to take an Uber right now. It's not that safe. We don't want to get you sick. But
yeah,
then taking time to figure out how to make things, safe, or waiting until it was safe, and supporting the initiative for social distancing and staying at home.
yeah,
I mean, it's a lot out there, but it's really, like you're saying, we want to get away from the dog eat competition and the waiting to be called up. The Not even college football, more like the minor leagues,
finally, yeah.
because you still get a little bit of money for playing in the minor leagues.
You do, and you get eight, yeah, and
But
with
whenever you talk to somebody about playing minor league baseball or public league football, they're gonna say, "Yeah, but you're not a pro."
pro, exactly.
All right.
Even college, they feel
So
like you're one step ahead of there. But
we got 10 minutes left.
let's move that needle.
So let's move that needle. Exactly. Now, thinking about that coming together, you started with the Microsoft
Yeah,
iPhone or iPad. So we switched that up. It's Microsoft
right.
X iPhone,
Yeah, Microsoft
iOS.
X iOS. Yep.
So,
Which is
um,
funny because yeah,
in the coming weeks, we're going to be talking about how we work and the differences in our workflow between the two, and finding common space to help each other pull things together. Um, Now, finally, we want to make sure it's understood with all this going on, we're building the table of infinite seats where the fabric of existence bubbles so that we can put all these stories into the Black Pulp anthology book. Um, as we start showcasing more of the work, we're going to be looking to build our anthology. Right now, we combined are working on 4 stories at a total of maybe 75 pages, and we're going to be reaching out for another 75 pages or more from other storytellers in our industry and expressly our locality.
Mm-hmm.
And we do currently, as I'm re-debuting the shop, we have our last full roundup, Epoch Primordial, which we consider our demo. I'm gonna have that up on the site at about $3, just as support for us putting together the platforms. But on top of that, you'll get to see what we're looking for in a more, not organized, but more collective and more community focused goal. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm not fitting to be trying to write 7 different books. I know ain't none of y'all are, but I want to show the breadth and the width of what sequential art is about, even within the range of, I guess, what we call mid-level readers. Because
Yeah.
first of all, why make a comic book for a dude who's been reading them for 40 years? It sucks to say his ability to buy comic books over the long term is very, very minimal.
To say the least.
Yeah, like the research says that the reading age for comics is 13 to 28 male, 12 to 39 female. But we make comic books for old men.
Yeah.
Women will
Old
read comic
men
books
still,
longer,
yeah, and you know, I know
and
people who are
they'll
50
start
years old
younger.
in this game.
They'll
Yeah.
start younger. Like I moved over to manga for succinct stories that don't continually regurgitate. Dragon Ball is a guilty pleasure. It's cool. It's a
Yeah.
guilty pleasure because it's the same thing over and over again. Cool concepts, but there's a scratch in the record.
The exaggerate. Let me tell you something. The exaggeration of emotion, like I won't even say exaggeration. The enhancement of emotion that's shown in manga is what I love first and foremost. But you do see a little of that change in American comics because a lot of the artists nowadays are inspired by manga.
Well,
And
American comics, I'll say the emotion comes through the reading. Like as much as I
yeah,
like, I'm up and down about Superman. Some of his stories I think are great. Some of them I think are like whatever. But like
yeah,
the death of Superman was actually emotional
it
because
was emotional.
they put up that wall
Yeah,
that, because they're like, oh, but he's such a good man. Listen, there are good men who mop floors that don't get
yeah,
an ounce of the respect they give Superman because he don't get an attitude. I don't
yeah,
care. He has every reason not to get an attitude. He's the most powerful person on the planet. He can literally go, I could kill you with a sneeze if I wanted to. Why the
yeah,
frustration? He knows he's superior. The
exactly.
janitor's like, oh, I'm so angry and I can't do nothing about it. I respect his control more than I respect Superman's control.
Yeah,
Now, but that doomsday wall was fire. Like, because they took you on this journey where he was going through watching all his friends get killed, like people he
yeah,
respected being slapped. The only
yeah,
dude, the only dude the fanboy is and thinks can save the day, Batman, he showed up for the funeral. I don't
yeah.
remember seeing the dude in that comic, like he wasn't there.
No, nope.
But when they got to Metropolis and he looked around and was like, not my city. Yo, it was so like, it was so Republicans on Twitter saying, we coming to Philly. Superman was like, no. He said, it ends now. And that
Yeah,
one hit, that one hit, I mean, he apparently put his whole life behind that punch. He
yeah,
hit him like a pissed off janitor that went off. You know, like people say, nah, dog, you fight me, you got to fight my whole life.
yeah.
That was the hit that killed Doomsday.
Yep. Oh, funny thing. Kind of like, what was that line that Choji says in Naruto when he fights one of the sound four? He goes, this fist is heavier than life. Boom! It hits him. That was
Yes.
pretty much that fight. Because when you think about it, then when the death of Superman, they were pummeling each other. When they got to the point where, okay, we're tired of destroying the city, we're in this crater, F it. Bam, bam, just beating every hit. And that final
And
last
then
hit, crunch.
and then for Lois to stand over his beaten, broken body in
Body,
tears,
yeah.
I was like, yo. Now come to find out that even the people who know him best didn't realize if you put a solar powered being on the roof, he'd have been awake in 12 hours with no wounds.
Yeah.
They put him in a
Yep.
bag, then in a box, and then in the ground.
Out and buried him. He left him for dead.
But
He left him
sunlight
there.
heals him.
Yeah. Why don't you just throw him in the sun? Have you like what's wrong with you guys?
Like,
But
but
then
either way. But
yeah,
see, like, so
that was a Brian moment.
the emotion is in the story. Because I feel like Marvel kind of botched that with Captain America in Civil War.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
he's like, oh wait, we're destroying Manhattan. Lock
Oh
me up. Lock me
yeah,
up. The city was more important than freedom to him at the end of the day.
yeah. Where in now what I like as opposed to the MCU, they were kind of like, no, freedom for us all is more important. And I remember, no, actually, he was like, Bucky is more important than
Yeah,
anything. Because
that
he
was
wanted to
the
keep Captain America, he wanted to keep Tony Stark from killing him when he found out it was him who killed his parents.
all right. So we got like 3 minutes left. I want to drop a last thing in here, and I think we're gonna close it out because we had a good session. But
Yeah,
that was like the world's greatest, most violent bromance of all moviedom.
it was.
It was like, oh, my friend from like 100 million years ago, you're alive,
Mm-hmm.
and you're trying to kill my
Kill me.
friends.
Yeah.
Nothing will ever happen to you.
Yeah.
That was
I'll
the
keep you.
worst example. That was the worst
Oh,
example. Best
one last
example
example.
was Captain Thor.
Oh my God. I didn't. Now I heard of that. I didn't really like. I was gonna say what they did to Solar on Heroes.
No, no, Captain Thor. I mean, in the last movie, when Thor had y'all's burger cheese in his hand, and Cap had Munster, because I can't pronounce those names properly all the time, and they went back to back ham on Thanos. That was redemption.
Oh yeah, yeah. He tossed him. Yeah, you take the little one.
Yeah,
He had Stormbreaker. He had Yearning,
Mjolnir.
Mjolnir. Yeah, and man, yeah. And then when you thought that okay, we're gonna see a repeat, then the whole universe came in, and I
Right.
think that was beautiful. That
Yeah,
was
that
awesome.
was. I think that was like the best way to capture that whole series. But boy, as much as I like the action and the debut of Black Panther, moment for
I,
that one. Moment for that one.
yeah.
Okay, Civil War's premise was just off. It was it
Recipe
was a little
Captain
off.
Marvel.
Yeah, it was just off. But
Yeah,
suppose it to say after that little moment of headcanon, this is why we tell our own stories. Cause
yeah,
I'm not fitting to just ask them to change their story. It was fun for me, even though I had disagreements. So I'm going to tell my own, like, so as we're going to be saying around here, new world, new story. Is it yours?
yeah.
Honestly, if it ain't, don't complain. Just love it or hate it. But don't complain
No,
because we can't do nothing about it. It's theirs. Let's make our
yeah,
own stuff.
yeah.
I mean, we got
That,
this whole fabric of existence to work with.
mm-hmm.
All
And
right.
it's we're expanding within the universe that we all create.
Yes. Because
Just think
every
of it like
day, a new creative
Black
is born.
exactly. Black Pope is a unit. It's like a universe that you make your own. And to me, that's to me going back to what Black Pope to me is that's what it is. It's my universe, and I'm gonna live and build in it.